Oh, hey everybody, it's me, Eric Pope, community developer on For Honor. How are you doing? Nice to see you. We got a small show today. It's just me. You're unfortunately stuck with me. And I know that everybody in the chat is shouting about balance. What I can say is we hear you. We already heard you. We have been hearing you. We have very cool reporting tools that tell us how many of you are talking about balance and want answers on balance. And we know that, and we're discussing it a lot over here. I wish I could tell you more right now, but I can't. I'm alone. I don't have Steph. I don't have Roman or Damien. What could be helpful is what we used to do. We used to have cool, helpful people on the subreddit who kind of curated top questions about balance, which actually were really helpful for us in leading discussions with our designers about balance. So I would like to know what you'd like to hear apart from just general shouting the word balance. I'd like to know fight-specific topics. Tell me specific heroes. Tell me specific moves that are problematic. Tell me things that you want changed. Give us specifics. Help me help you. Not that you have been doing that, but if you can put it all in a thread, that's always super helpful. I'll see what we can do for next week's show to answer some of your questions, guys. I know that that's a big topic. And I hear you. You are heard. You are loved. So, that out of the way, on with the very short show.
So, before we start this video off, I want you to just take 1 minute and click on the link in the pinned comment down there, which will lead you to a Reddit post that's basically a balanced feedback thread, since UB asked for one. It's not mine. It's from a user named Insidious1. So I'd be really happy if you hop over and leave an upvote with a balance suggestion, or talk about a bug you've encountered with the Wulin, or just something about the game in general. Start your comment off with the word so that I know if it was one of you guys that wrote the feedback, because I plan on reading through most of them. Maybe if there's enough suggestions and upvotes along with the multiple videos coming out about how UB's handling the game, something will actually change. I also want to say that all the insults against Pope and the rest of the team on a personal level is not okay. It really doesn't help anything, and it's just disrespectful, so please don't attack them personally. You can criticize their work all you want though. And some may say that's soft, but it's the truth. You could say it's the illest truth. Now, our job as a community is to give specific examples on things we want worked on. So talk about characters, talk about attacks, and basically just do exactly what we've been doing, but be more specific about it. Now, I get that balance is touchy, it's delicate. You start messing around and you can break a character. Look at Warlord. Warlord mains have had to learn how to basically abandon the whole art of battle system to focus on headbutt zones and his unlocked charge. Do I think that anything will actually happen after today's dev stream? I'm actually holding on to a little bit of hope now that it's sort of been addressed, and they say that they'll try to plan something for next week. I think that we may finally see some balanced discussion. It only took 2 weeks of sustained pushback from the community to get a response, but this is not the first time that UB has asked for feedback, and usually it feels like there's no reason to post any feedback because nothing happens and UB dances around topics. There's also loads of really good and admittedly bad feedback out there already, and that's why I sort of feel like nothing will change. As I said a couple hours ago in a post I made, there have been countless rework ideas, there's been videos and Reddit posts with tons of feedback and ideas, and I think most of these ideas are just going to be spit right back out. I don't think anything's going to be any different. I think if the next Warrior's Den doesn't really address the combat, then there's going to be even more outrage, if I'm going to be honest here. And the word balance is just the most often used word. I think everyone knows at this point that the game will never be in a perfect state of balance. We just want to see patches. We want to see attempts at working on the game, rather than releasing a bug fix patch and leaving us for weeks on end. I get that Roman was out and Damien is doing something much more important right now. I'm not mad at that at all. But now that the stage is set, you gotta come with something good, and hopefully not the now infamous learn how to play Lawbringer BS. this isn't a knock on today's live stream in particular, but dev streams as a whole. I talked about this for a couple minutes in the video I posted a couple days ago, but the dev streams are perfect on paper, but the execution is just sort of poor. It feels silly. And I mean, that's not a bad thing. It's just not my thing. I don't tune into the Warriors Den to be entertained. I tune in to find out what's going on with the game and hear what the developers think about certain issues and how they're going to go about fixing them, not some pumpkins. And I know some people say, why is balance such a big deal? And here's the thing. It keeps the game fun. It keeps it fresh, and we want to be able to use all the heroes in the game and not feel cheesed out by others. For example, if I want to use Raider because I like his style and executions and all that, I have to put in a lot of effort to beat a Berserker or a Shaolin, who are just superior heroes who have a pretty noticeable advantage. And Raider's been pretty stale for a long time. I held out for a while, but I just got tired of repeating the exact same things and hoping that my opponent couldn't parry and dodge or react to slow attacks. And I think it's important because this game relies on its player base to keep playing. It's not like it was released and dropped. It's part of Ubi's whole games as a service thing they've got going on. And if players leave because they're not having fun anymore, and the game doesn't have any players and it isn't making any money, then why would they keep working on it? As I said before, I don't think Marching Fire did too much for the player base in terms of growth. Sure, it made the people who are still sticking around happy, but I don't think it really brought in a bunch of players. So how do you keep those existing players? Well, for the super casual players who just care about the look and feel of the game and couldn't care any less about whether or not Shigoki can hold up with Tiandi, just keep releasing new content. But for regulars who've been here for a while since like launch, you got to keep the game fun and you got to make it seem like you still care. And when you don't listen or take a couple of months to release a measly patch that changes nothing, then we're going to feel like you don't care. Anyways, at this point, I think it's just time to change the Warriors Den. Personally, I'd love to see the entire community corner move to after the show's over and instead do a Q&A like they used to do. You don't even have to talk a whole bunch about balance, if you want to call it that. Just choose 6 or 7 questions a week and answer them. I feel that would solve so many problems and relieve all the tension between the community and the dev team, because it's pretty obvious by now that after a year and a half, they're not going to pick up the pace. I was really disappointed in this week's show because yet again, I thought we'd hear that we have a patch on the way, ready to roll out in a couple of weeks, but that just didn't happen. That was me being naive. Now, if there's one thing that I guess we can do as a whole is try to change the way we look at heroes. Now, of course, I'm not talking about everyone, but there are still a ton of people who go online and say, nerf Centurion, he's too OP, or nerf Conk, he's too OP, or buff my main, they're too weak. And I see way too many of these, and they won't really discuss anything. They will not listen to anything that anyone has to say. They'll hop online after losing to a Centurion and swear up and down that he's completely broken because of his cutscene, when that's just not the case. Sure, his cutscene is annoying, but he doesn't really have anything else. Maybe if he had a whole bunch of other great tools on top of his insane wall splat punish, then sure, you could say that, but demanding a Centurion nerf is just not okay right now. And this goes for better players as well. They'll be so set in their ways that they won't even hear a lower skill player out and have some sort of elitist attitude towards them, and that's not okay either. Honestly, if there's anything I want to come out of this entire thing, this entire wave of backlash, it'd be bi-weekly or at least monthly changes to the game that actually mean something. I'm not asking for these huge reworks or new characters or anything. I'm just asking for some number changes, some tweaks to speed, some changes to certain attacks hit stuns, some damage adjustments like reducing the damage on 400 millisecond attacks, and things like that. And then get some seasonal reworks. And if they're going to continue making new heroes, try to fit in at least one rework in there so that the original cast doesn't look like a bunch of jokes compared to the new ones. The painfully slow pace is honestly the dev team's biggest problem, and if they can work on that, things would honestly look a lot better for Honor. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. I really wanted to talk about this because the moment I saw the dev stream today, I felt a little disappointed. I'm really hoping that next week will be the week that we finally get some real discussion about things we want to hear about. But if you haven't already, please click on the link in the pinned comment, or just hop on over to Reddit yourself and find the feedback post and upvote the post and leave a little feedback. And as always, I do want to hear your opinion on this video, so talk to me down in the comments about anything I talked about. And if you liked the video, feel free to leave a like and sub, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.